It's just weird. I'm not getting, I mean, it's fine, but. All right, it's time. So Beth, it looks like you're our only participant, so you can unmute and ask questions all you want. If there's really no need to use the chat if you're going to be, if it's just us.
Okay.
Can you unmute and tell me where you're from?
Can you hear me? I'm unmuted. No, you can't hear me?
I'm not hearing. Am I muted?
Can you hear me?
Did she answer? I thought I had it. Hold on, let me check this real quick.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, my audio's up. Did she answer? And did I miss it? Okay. That's okay. She may have stepped away.
I'm trying to.
So I'll just make this real casual since it's just you. So I'm Ellen Hennings Nesbitt. I go by Ellen Nesbitt. I'm the ITS. That's what we call ITRTs in Virginia Beach at Brandon Middle School. I've been there my entire adult life. I started there on my 22nd birthday. So I've been there a lot of years, always at Brandon. I did go back and earn a master's in instructional technology at Old Dominion, which helped me to focus on curriculum and getting, making technology be a tool, not the be all and end all. And this is my 37th year teaching with technology. I taught math for a few years before that. So I have several of my teachers are doing student portfolios, and Virginia Beach Schools is going to an all portfolio method where every child in high school will create a portfolio this year, and then they'll eventually move it down into middle schools. The idea is to collect artifacts. So the students have one place where they have all the things they have created. So, what are the benefits of student portfolios? Some of the student benefits are that they can show their growth. They can go from, a simple sentence that's maybe an excellent sentence, but it's not as powerful as a full paragraph. They can look at their process. They can examine their process as well as documenting it. They can look at who they really are academically when they look at a collection of work instead of this one thing. They might have bombed this one thing, but if they look at their overall academic identity, they might see that, okay, I'm not as strong here, so maybe that's what I need to be working on. And then locating strengths and weaknesses, that goes right along with that. And they can share it with their peers. We're a big military area, so we have a lot of kids whose parents, mom or dad are out to sea, or they might be, children of divorce where the parents don't live near each other. So they can share the work without having to mail things. So that's an advantage from the student side. And from the teacher side, again, that documenting of growth is so important to see, are we on the right track? Are we giving these children the scaffolds they need? I was reading an article about portfolios preparing for this, and I saw this quote, portfolios honor the many ways of being smart. And that really spoke to me. I have a child who learns very differently from how I do. So when I look at some of the work that she did when she was in school, I worried about her and realized later on, no, she's fine. She's just a different kind of smart from me. I like that it celebrates the students' learning and their progress over time. And again, we can look at the process. We can have that collection where you see these kids have really worked hard. At the end of the year, when they look back, do they realize how much work they've put in this year? Because I'm not sure they do. I think a lot of times it escapes them. They do it, they might learn the concept, but they might forget that they've worked so hard. And then you can empower student voice. There's always that genius child in the classroom that you never hear from. And when they can show you what they've done instead of having to tell you, you get a different response from them. So when you're creating a student portfolio, I always ask the students to include certain things. I ask them to include a section that's about them. I want to know, who are you? Now, I teach middle school and they're nuts. I love them, but they're crazy. So they'll put crazy things in there about me. And that's my favorite part. They'll really show you who they really are. They might put in there, I was talking to one last week. Turns out he's a huge Johnny Cash fan. You just don't expect a kid with sagging pants and twists in his hair to love Johnny Cash. But I was like, that's the kind of thing you put in the about me, because, you know, who would expect that? I like it when they include goals, and it doesn't necessarily have to be educational goals. It might be, you know, someday I would like to be in the military. Someday I would like to be a doctor. Someday I would like to own my own business. So the goals may be SMART goals for this year, or they might just be those goals that we all have, you know, down the road. This is what I would like to see. There should be organizational elements. It should not just be one great big screen with a bunch of stuff slapped on it. It needs to be organized in some way, different pages for different subjects or for different topics, different places to collect. All of that should be done, should be set up ahead of time, and they can always add on to it later. They can add more pages if they like. And then the actual artifacts should be in there, and then they should decorate it. They need to make it look like them. If they're, you know, if they're heavily into something, there should be images there that represent that. So it helps us see who they are. This should be a very personal thing with schoolwork in it, but that should just be a piece of it. So I want to show you a couple of sites that I have that were done by students, and show you how to create one. So we're going to start off by showing you the ones that have been created. And these were done by students at my school. And the first two were done by one of the English teachers. So this is her, this is one of her examples. She was very kind to share them, and the kids gave permission. But so this is Deshawn. He's one of those kids that everybody knows. We knew him as sixth graders. I mean, as a sixth grader, as he moved up, everybody knew him. And pretty, you know, by the end of the time he was at Brandon, every teacher, most of the kids knew him. So here's his about me page, and he talked about writing, and he talks about who runs but dances. Can you multitask? And this is like, to me, this was more poetry than fact, but I thought it was a lovely thing. There's always that question: can you multitask? Can you dance? Can you run? Can you do both? So he just had a real poetic soul, so that worked for him. Up at the top, he has two pages. One page says all about me, and here's where he really goes into the facts about himself. And then quarter one, and he did not finish. She gave me this before the year was over, so he did not finish. But in quarter one, what she asked the students to do is at the end of the quarter, they put in an item that they thought was really good. That's their glow artifact. And then they have their grow artifact. And he said, I see a lot of mistakes I made, the way I can change my future writing with this passage. And then at the bottom is the show. And that's the show artifact. That should be his best one. And it may not be, if you notice, the other two are writing. And when I made a copy of this, I didn't get the sound, so I don't have his song, but he actually recorded the song. So it was something to show. He had written it, but it's not an essay like this, or a short writing like this. Is a poetry. It's a poet from the poetry unit. But it was at the end of each quarter, this English teacher had them do that. And then here's his SMART goal. So he put in that type of goal. Another student that teacher had was Kylie, and she's very similar. Here's her glow piece, and rather than typing it in, she took a picture of it. And there's not a thing wrong with that. That worked. She said, I was proud with the outcome, felt as though certain lines have a lot of power. And then her grow piece, I struggled to make it dark and seem a bit edgier in a sense. And she's not an edgy kid, so I'm not sure why she was going edgy, because this is a happy, sunny child. But I think everybody gets to try these things. So she did her grow piece, and then her show piece. I honestly don't remember what this was. It was a picture that I didn't get, and I apologize for that. I didn't realize till I got here yesterday that did not appear. And then she went on to quarter two. We were early in quarter two when the teacher gave me these. So here's something that she demonstrated her understanding of the prompt. And, I didn't know where I was going with this. It just got kind of lazy and rushed. And then her showpiece, and she made a trailer. So there were all kinds of materials in here, but these two follow the same structure. Now the way the teacher, when the teacher assigns this, what they do is they ask the child after they publish it to put the link into a Google site, a Google Sheet. So she has a Google Sheet that would have the student's name, and next to it, they put the link. And that way the teacher can always get to it. And that's a living document. So once the link is put in the Google Sheet, the kid doesn't have to do that again. They just, as they update this, the teacher would see it. This is one from this year. Dallas is in Spanish too, and he didn't finish it. He sent it to me and I was all excited, and then I realized he had not sent me the whole thing. But the Spanish teacher who teaches Spanish 1 and 2 wanted the kids to bring up some materials from Spanish 1 where they worked hard on vocabulary, because her belief is they'll grab the grammar from talking, but we might lose some of the vocabulary. So it would help to have that to refer back to when they're working on their Spanish 2 assignments. And so for those kids, there's a Spanish 2 page, but they also create a Spanish 1 page. And then of course the home page that he has. So this is the fake kid. This is the one I always show the kids. And this is my fake kid one where I've created this. And they always say it looks too old. They you know, middle school kids are very honest, and they say, Miss Nesbitt, this looks like something you created. Well, it is something I created. That's why it looks like that. So I always tell them they need to make it look like them, and this looks like me. So that's why this is like it is. So we start off with an about me, and I tell them what this is going to be, and then I show them that I want them to put in all kinds of things, not just work, but what are their achievements? What have you done that you're proud of? And it doesn't have to be an award you won. It could be, you know what, I tried out for the track team. I didn't make it, but I've always wanted to try out, and I finally had enough nerve to do that. To me, that's an achievement. And then strengths. What are you good at? What can we depend on you for? And then what skills are you working on? So we put in the awards. And then this one is set up with a sidebar, so I can go here and I can look at the achievements section or the activities section for my fake kid. So to create a new one, all you do is in a new tab, you do sites.google.com. And it will take you to, a standard Google startup. And you may have done this before, but it's a standard Google thing where you have options. Down here are sites that you might have explored. And so you can do just a plain blank one, or here's a student portfolio template. You can search the template. You can open the gallery and look for other things that you might want. I'm just going to start out with a blank one. And everything you need is right there on that first screen. So here I would need to name my site. So I would call this Ellen's Visti site, maybe. And I'm going to call this number 2 because I did one yesterday as well. And then I come up here and I can give the site a name. So maybe Visti 2 Nesbitt. Who knows? I can, you have to choose that yourself. But what the nice thing is when you put it up here, it puts it on here for you too. And it always comes up with this textured black. I don't know if you can see that it's kind of a black and gray mosaic. I don't like that. I think that's a little dark. So I like to change that. But first I might change the header type. Right now I have a banner, which is where I usually end up staying. But I could go to a title, or I could do a large banner, or I could do a cover, which is even bigger than a banner. But I usually end up just doing a plain banner. And then I can hover over here where it says change image. And I can upload an image, or I can select one of the ones they have. If you upload an image, you want something that's wide so it doesn't chop off the top and bottom to make it fit in there. And then I can go in and say, you know what, I kind of like this beach one. Seems appropriate for the theme of this year's conference. So there's my first page. So now I have created a website. On the right side, I have some things I can insert on this page. I can just add a text box, and that's where I could type my mission statement. Why am I doing this? I can add an image here. I can, same thing, you can upload one or you can select one. So I might choose, to put something with a little energy to it. I could add something from my Google Drive, and I can embed videos and other things. Anything you can get an embed code for, you can just click embed there. So here I have the site, I'm good to go. I can click here and type in text. The other option you have when you're adding things is these content blocks that are, I'm still in the insert tab. And as I scroll down, the content blocks are already set up for you. So this one has, if you can look at it and see what it's going to be. There's a little picture, and then I can have text to the right of it. Or I might put one in that has 3 or 4 pictures and text underneath it, or you can choose all those things. And there are other things down here, like the table of contents. That's what I had on Sophie's page, where I had the stuff on the left side. That was a table of contents. An image carousel is a slideshow. You could have a slideshow right here that shows, like you do on many web pages where it just changes from picture to picture. I could have a button that points to something specific. I mean, you can go through and see that there are all kinds of options here. I could put my Google Calendar on here. I could put it, add a YouTube video. All kinds of things could be added there. So I would make this page. I always tell the kids, start with first page and get at least enough on it to make it pleasant to look at. Then I can go over here to the Pages tab. And in the Pages tab, I can add a page. So I can add, when I add it, this might be my Spanish 1 page. And you see how it puts it at the top right. That's because I didn't put on the table of contents. So it will add the links up here to the top right. I can add pages that are sub pages of these as well. When I go to the 3 dots over here, I can add a sub page, and that would be maybe vocabulary. I'll put it in Spanish. So now if I go to the Spanish 1 page, I can use the drop down to add the page, to go to the page for vocabulary. And then I could add links to all of these things. I can add images, I can add text. Every page can have all those things on it. But on the right side, this pages thing gives me the kind of the structure, that what's the location. Kind of used to be called a site map. I don't know if they even still use that term. And then under themes, you can do themes for individual pages. Right now we're on simple, but you could go in, and if you chose diplomat, you see how the text is slightly different, and I could choose a slightly different color. That's kind of brown. You probably can't see it. These are all really dark colors. I could go to vision, all of these different options, and you can choose what you like. And so here I want it to be yellow or green, so you can see the difference in the changes. But that's all there is to creating the page. The thing you have to bear in mind is at the top right, you have the publish button, and you can't really do anything with publish, anything with a published site. So you have to unpublish. Well, actually, you don't have to unpublish, but if you make a change, you have to go back and publish again. So as soon as I hit publish, this becomes a site people could find. And I can manage who gets to see this, and I can go in and make it so that, ours are limited to people in Virginia Beach, but we can put in requests, and they could be open to other people as well. So when I hit that publish button, then anybody can see the site. So the teachers can see it, they can share it with other teachers easily. When we want to share it outside, it's a little more difficult. And then once it's published, if I go back to change something, then I have to just remember to publish again, because if you don't publish again, the old version just stays there. But that's really all there is to creating the site. There's not a whole lot to creating it. And the kids are always kind of amazed that this is a website. I mean, this is out there where people can see it. Yes, this is a real honest to goodness website. And it's free, and you can create it. And we've used other programs to do student portfolios, but they were for whatever reason we ended up changing. But I don't think it really matters which one you use. The idea of the portfolio and making it a public portfolio, I think, is the best part around it. So going back to my presentation, let me start it from the beginning. And I'll get back where we were. So I've included on this slide a link to a video in YouTube that is how to set one up, and it's been a good one. Because I'm an ITRT and I love to work in the classroom, I try to go and be the person who presents this. But you always have that kid who's absent or the kid who needs to see it again. So this is the video I share with them. It's a 15-minute video, but they can scroll through. Oh, I didn't mean to watch that. Sorry. So one last thing, how do we use this? Well, we can use it as a showcase where we show the very best. It's parent night. We have parent night tomorrow night. And for our fifth grade, for the people who will be in sixth grade next year, the fifth graders are coming. So we will have some up for them to see the very best of them. I have my teachers use that as an alternative to tests if they upload their things. We're a Canvas district, so they can upload things into Canvas and the teacher can see it. But once that class is gone and that's archived, it's not as easy for the kid to get back to it. So we like the idea of showing the process as the learning display, but also instead of a test, if we do if they make a poster or something like that, here's a place where they can keep a copy of it where everything is together. And then the archive, of course, a lot of these are kind of the same thing over and over again. So, and those are my credits, and then here I am. So that's really all there is to this. It's not a real detailed process. When I present it to my teachers, they ask me to come in. I do about 10 or 15 minutes. The kids get started. And then I do what I call the drop-ins. For the next several days, I'll drop into the classes to see if kids have questions. And that seems to make it easier for the teacher. The teacher doesn't have to be an expert at this. I don't think that I'm an expert at this, but I don't think it's particularly hard in terms of some of the things we ask the children to do. So let's see. I have to change.
Can you hear me now, Ellen? No.
Okay. That's great to know that you could do that change for the banner. I've just always chosen a picture. I've uploaded my own pictures. I just try to make sure they're horizontal pictures or something that's in landscape view. Do you have any questions for me? I want to get that link before I go away. Thank you for that.
What about trying to get my English teachers to do a?
And we used Wix for a long time. I really liked Wix, but it turns out Wix is a very small company. So I'm gonna favorite this. And they only had one. I mean, I know that's what you weren't suggesting, Wix. That just happened to be the commercial that came up. But it was a very small company. They only had one person in their tech support department for the whole company, and they were in Israel. And so we would ask a question, say 9 o'clock our time, and then we'd get an answer the next day. There was no immediacy because of the difference in time zones. All right. Do you have, how about trying to, oh yes. And that's where we started. And what the English teachers are now doing is they're encouraging the other teachers to have the kids make another page, make a page for math or make a page for social studies and include their best work for that too, showing them that it doesn't have to just be English. So it's been very successful with my English teachers. Yeah, one of my Spanish teachers, she'll try anything with technology. So she's the one who jumped on it, and we've got the others getting it. The Japanese has not worked as well because they're trying to do everything in Japanese, and we don't have they have a Japanese, they don't really have the characters. Like they can't do a Japanese website. It would be an English website with Japanese artifacts on it, which I don't have a problem with, but the Japanese teacher isn't thrilled about that, but the Spanish teachers are using it. Well, again, I want to share my email address. If you have any questions about the process, ellen.nesbitt@vbschools.com or ehnesbitt@vbschools.com. And I would love to interact if you have any questions. Yes, you're right. If I can get a teacher who's willing to try it, hallelujah. And I have a couple of teachers I can kind of guilt into it. I'll say, you remember that day when you would hurt your foot and you need somebody to make copies, and I made copies. Well, now I want to come in your room and I want to try this program. And they usually, I guilt them into it. All right. Well, it was a pleasure presenting to you, even though I didn't get to talk to you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. We're going to head out now. All right. Take care.